culture is more than just entertainment. It's a lens into society, relationships, and human behavior. I'm Grace, and here on The Grace Report, we dive into stories beyond the headlines. Whether it's reality TV drama, celebrity scandals, or royal family intrigue, I'm here to break it all down. What it means, why it matters, and how it reflects the world we live in. Join the conversation, share your take, and let's make sense of the culture shaping our lives one story at a time. Good morning, good morning, good morning, sunshine. So nice to see y'all here. Let me get myself together. You know what happened today? I was so prepped. I had all my stories done, and then my darling sister calls me. And this is one of those days. I feel this way every day, but one of those days where you're like, oh God, having a sister is the absolute best. The tea she was spilling was crazy. Is it better like this or like this? It's better like this. I had to throw this on in case because my camera doesn't like for me to wear white. How are y'all doing today? Thursday. We are so freaking close to another weekend. Shenjem's back from Mexico. Wow, I should have stayed 7 days instead of 5. However, I did come back to beautiful weather. Love that. So nice to see you back, Shem. We were talking about you on Monday. Like, I wonder how things are going for her over there by the beach, living her best life. Who else is here? We've got Miss Queen. Thank you so much to you. Stephanie as well for popping in. Jessica, our newest channel member. Gala's here as well. Good morning, good morning. Ashley, Aaron, Ronnie, Nikki, Stephanie, Ramster, Tadisha, Kristen, Venetia, Acacia. We said Shemjem. K-Car, Joy, wow, Hamlet's Princess, Amelia Bedelia. So nice to see y'all here. And thanks for the compliments, y'all. I took out my cornrows because they were getting too fluffy or whatnot. And my hair was actually feeling really cool from the amla powder. But I haven't really been able to really handle it. I just went ahead and threw it into a ponytail. I'm going to be washing my hair again on Saturday. And then I'll do that again. And I'll give you guys the update on how it feels so far. Okay. As for this top, I got this at H&M the other day. I got this for my summer vacation. I'm going to make it look very cute with an all linen sort of a look. And I'm really excited about that. Good morning, Minnie. Nice to see you. Hey, Hamlet's going to be going to Mexico as well very soon on a cruise. I hope you have a great time. How long are you staying for, Hamlet? That sounds so damn fun. Good morning, Venice, and thank y'all. I whip my hair back and forth. We've got so much to talk about on today's morning report. I actually kind of want to start off with the Shannon Sharpe story because we went in on his creepy behind yesterday. The way he decided to humiliate and drag that 20-year-old woman who had the misfortune of being creeped on by his senior citizen behind, right? She filed anonymously, and then he published her name over a dozen times just to humiliate her, released irrelevant, vulgar text messages and whatnot. Why don't we play something that is a throwback to when Monique tried to warn him earlier this year about messing with a young girl.
Now I'm looking right at y'all. Let me tell y'all what Shannon needs. Let me tell you what my baby needs. He need him an old fat gal who can bake good cakes, make some smothered turkey wings, who gonna rub his feet at the nighttime, okay, and gonna have a sip of his cognac to make him feel better about himself when he come home at night. That's what Shannon needs. You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl. This is your auntie talking to you. Take your old, get you an old out there that can love you old. You're trying to hang out with these young and you can't do it, Shannon. You just can't do it. Dang. When they want you to go for the 4th round, you looking at her like, listen, you want some money to go to Starbucks? Yeah, because I can't go no further. But if you get your older girl, when you get to that 4th round, she's going to say, hold on. Let me go get you some eggs and cheese and some toast with apple butter because that's going to get your energy back up. I'm talking right to you. So he thought I was going to be scared to yes, I'm talking. And I know an old gal, she'll be good to you. Her name is Elladora.
I bet he wishes he was doing more listening than giggling now, because I actually do think that this might be the final nail in his coffin, right? This has been a very difficult, scandal-filled year for Shannon Sharpe. Earlier this year, he accidentally was caught banging a woman on Instagram Live. Y'all know it wasn't an accident. He did that to counteract rumors that were circulating about his sexuality. And now this, finding out that, at the ripe, tender age of 50 something, he's running behind 19-year-olds. Put a fork in it. Put a fork in it. I think his career is going to go downhill from here, because this is very, very, very unacceptable behavior. Remember, there is a $100 million deal on the line for Shannon right now that he just got signed to. And I wonder if the rug is going to be pulled up from under him, because remember, when you are a public figure, there is a morality clause always in any deal that you sign, right? And is it, ethical? Is it morally right to be creeping around with teenagers when you are pushing 60 years old? I don't think so. Is it morally right to be threatening to choke women? I don't think so, right? By the way, shout out to Joy. It's Joy's birthday today. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Joy. I hope you're having a great birthday. And thanks so much for popping in to hang out with us on your big day. We always love having you here for the morning report. And Hamlet's going to be spending a whole week in Mexico. Y'all, I am so jealous. Shem Jem Hamlet, I am jealous of you guys' Mexican adventures. The weather there, the people there, everything is just so amazing and beautiful and sunny and bright. Good morning, Kahara. So nice to see you. Good morning, Malen. Thanks, Bree. So it looks like y'all agree with Monique. Shannon needed an age-appropriate woman. Even a 35-year-old would have been too young for him. However, old enough where you go, okay, like she's grown, you know what I mean? Versus like a 19, 20-year-old. Malen says, I don't like Shannon, but she's after the money. Sorry, especially her lawyer. I don't know. The receipts she dropped yesterday were pretty damning. And here's my thing. I think any young girl who's preyed on by a senior citizen deserves every single dime she can extract from him, because he is a creep and he is a loser. Sheena says he's over there cackling like that because he knows that's not what he wants. One of the comments in the comment section said he was laughing like that because, he knew he was about to go see her that night. K-Car says, I love Monique. She's so intelligent and says what needs to be said. He has really lucked out with a guest this year. Remember, Cat Williams really shook the table last year when he said that 2024 was going to be the year of, all the truth coming out, people being exposed. And what happened? The house of Diddy started to fall and to crumble. And then we had Monique warning him to stay away from the tenderonis. And now look where he's at, right? Tadisha says, I don't understand why some men run from aging and getting younger women to feel like they still got it. There's nothing wrong with aging. Exactly. If anything, these younger women make you look even older. I think there's nothing like more beautiful than like a couple that like looks like evenly yoked, like age appropriate and whatnot. If they're both like older and like, still attractive and whatnot, that looks better than like, one is super old, one is super young. It makes the old one look extra old and the young one look extra young. And it's just a weird vibe overall, Obviously, age gaps always have existed and whatnot. But I think when they get to these kinds of extremes, it's kind of something that's like, oh, to me personally anyway, it's like, especially if the younger person is under the age of like 30. It just, I don't know. I can't get with it. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Good morning, Shay. Nice to see you working through the morning report. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So nice to have you. By the way, Jaleesa, nice to have you here again. So sorry yesterday. Yesterday, what was happening to me? I was in this part of my cycle where all of your stuff just drops, your energy or whatever. And then you have like, it's not even a headache, but it's like something like in your head throughout the whole day. You can't seem to eat enough or drink enough water and everything is just a mess. So I had to like jump off at the end. I was like, oh my God, I'm dying. But I got to read your comment in the live chat about Jax and what could have, transformed him, because it seemed as though he was raised in a loving family with loving parents, but then he turned into kind of like a psycho. And so Jaleesa's theory was something might have happened when he moved to Hollywood. And he moved in with that like random, like kind of skeevy, creepy older man. And it's very sad to think that, but you really never know. Hollywood is a very, insidious, disgusting, ugly place. And, very, very crazy things happen there. Ali says, good morning. Loving the hair today. Looking fab, very business, very chic. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all. I'm having fun. I think I'm going to keep my hair in ponytails for the foreseeable future until I get my hair to a length that I like, right? And then we'll see it come down again. So thank y'all so much. And shout out to Monique for trying to warn Shannon about them young things. Unfortunately, he just did not want to listen. And now he is paying the price, as he should. I like when these kinds of creeps get unmasked. Why don't we get into some Bravo tea, y'all? Andy Cohen, I don't know if he calls the paparazzi on himself or if the network calls the paparazzi on him, but he was filmed by TMZ coming out of his offices, and they asked him a bunch of questions about Kenya Moore. I don't know if y'all saw, but she finally uploaded those videos to her YouTube channel about, like what was going on behind the scenes, her beef with Britt, being invited to the reunion, then uninvited. So when Andy was caught outside of his offices, he answered a couple of those questions. So take a look at the video and then we'll talk about it on the flip side, okay? Let me know what you think in the live chat, or if you're part of my playback posse, let me know in the comment section and we'll go back and forth on those.
Andy, we have to ask you, now listen, Kenya says she was invited and then uninvited to the reunion. How true is this?
I have to watch her whole, I haven't watched her post yet.
Okay.
But
is that true? Is that part true?
we'll talk about it.
Oh my goodness, Andy. Well, okay, well, is she coming back? Fans want her back, so what's the deal?
I love her. Listen, we there is so much more of this season left, and it is so good. Phaedra comes on in like 5 weeks. It is a jam, and you are going to love it. And so right now, I'm kind of focusing on the rest of the season.
So not Kenya?
What?
So you're not focusing on Kenya, but she's coming back?
I'm focusing on the show.
Okay, so when you watch that confessional, let us know.
Okay.
Well, it looks like you were trying to say that she was invited and then uninvited.
That's what it looks like I was trying to say?
Kinda. You were like,
I don't know.
So there you go. What do y'all think about Andy Cohen's, sidewalk interview about what's going on? So he kind of like skirted past some of those questions about Kenya and her future on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. He said that he loves her, right? And, he's not ready to comment on whether or not Bravo invited and disinvited her. However, kind of like Shayna said, it feels like just the reaction kind of confirmed that Kenya was telling the truth about that. So I do get that vibe. I also do agree with you, Melen, that Andy is very fake. He's very media trained, right? As Ali's also pointing out, he's very, very media trained. So I will be honest, I think that Kenya was telling the truth, but Andy was not expecting that question. And he's not yet ready to answer it. I do get the vibe, though, that this is not going to be the last time we see Kenya on Bravo. They are seeing the internet, the audience's reaction to it all, and how many people are fighting for Kenya to come back and feeling as though they were unfair towards Kenya by not protecting her when they had the chance instead of allowing things to get to this ugly place and whatnot. So I don't know. How do you guys feel? How would you feel about like a Kenya cameo? Remember, sometimes whenever there's something big enough going on in the Bravo universe, they do allow for the housewives to have these like one-on-one sit down conversations with Andy Cohen. And I kind of wonder if we're going to be seeing something like that, right? For a little special of sorts. I always go and think about Luann getting married and divorced, going to, traveling, going to prison and whatnot. Like, do you think like something like that could happen for Kenya potentially to give her the opportunity to speak her piece? Because when she uploaded her confessional sharing her side on YouTube, it gathered like 300,000 views in the span of 2 days. The views are there. People want to hear what she has to say. And I think that Bravo needs to cash in on this, and open the door for Kenya coming back. A lot of people do not want Brett back next season, independent or irrespective of her relationship with Kenya. And so, if they get rid of her and bring back Kenya, this wouldn't be the first time they've done that, rehired people. I'd be cool with it. Would you? Tadisha says Kenya was absolutely wrong, no doubt. However, I feel like she should be invited to speak her piece. Yup. About why she decided to do that. Exactly. Right? She was wrong. However, let her share her side of the story on the way out at the very least. Oh, not Ali, you got to speak with Obama in person? and you got to ask him if he was going to run for president before he ever ran. This is iconic. Can we get some more deets on this? Sheena says, we need that reporter at these reunions. She was on his neck. Absolutely. She did not let go. I love the way that she circled back to that question about whether or not, the uninvited and disinvited Kenya from the reunion, right? Messi, shaking in his boots. Milan says they'll have Phaedra back, but not Kenya, who made a great accusation. They're always firing than rehiring people. So do not worry, you guys. I think that Kenya will be back, especially considering the dislike for Britt Eady and the fact that the majority of the viewers feel like although Kenya was wrong, she should have been protected before things even went to such an ugly place. Wow, Annabelle, let me zoom in here. Let me see this beautiful wedding photo. Good morning, Annabelle. Nice to see you. What a beautiful wedding photo. I love it. Congrats on a beautiful wedding. Super cool. Nice to see you here too. Thank you so much for joining us on the morning report. Tori, hey Tori. Stephanie says Phaedra threatened Kenya with a taser multiple times on the show. Exactly. And speaking of Kenya and threats on the show, don't forget Kenya's made her own threats on the show. Remember when she was cleaning out her closet and she was talking about how she has like these firearms and whatnot, like, she wasn't fired then, just like Phaedra wasn't fired then and whatnot. Why now? Why all of a sudden? Is this something that they really, feel like was all that terrible, or is it a performative thing? Very curious. Good morning, JJ. It's so nice to see all of y'all trickling in. Thank y'all so much for joining us for the morning report. If this is your first time here, we go live every single weekday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about the day's hottest stories. If you find yourself liking it, even a little bit, at any point, don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up, please. Ashley says, I only know the housewives from you, Grace, but I'm always here for the tea. Love it. Thanks for being here, Ashley, with your adorable puppy. Ali says, the Obamas are from Hyde Park area of Chicago. They used to be out on the streets back in the day. Oh, how cool is that? That is so cool to be able to run into these kinds of people and to know people and see people before they really hit it big. Love that. Good morning, Jasmine. Good morning, Cynthia. Good morning, everybody joining us. So I guess, guys, we've got to watch this space and see what happens with the evolution of Kenya. I do think that they want to go ahead and do something because they see that they kind of overreacted when it came to her. I do have another housewife story to share with you guys, and thankfully this is a positive one in regards to Teddi Mellencamp. She was recently diagnosed with brain tumors, several brain tumors. She had already survived a cancer scare not too long ago. And so a lot of people were worried that, things were looking terminal for her, but she actually has some positive news to share with us. And I'm really happy to be able to pass that on to you guys. According to Teddi, her doctors think that she is just a few weeks away from beating cancer once again. She shared this on her social media yesterday, saying that the treatment that she's getting is working because the tumors in her brain are much smaller than they were before. She only has 2 more sessions of immunotherapy, and then she hopes that her treatment will be wrapped up and she will be considered completely cancer-free. Oh my God. Teddi, go buy yourself a lottery ticket. Go do something, because the luck that you have, the blessings, the guardian angel that you have to be able to beat cancer, serious brain tumors, all this stuff is incredible. You are so fortunate. This is so great to hear. We were all so worried that this might turn dark and ugly, right? And that things would go in a completely different direction. So now hearing from Teddi that things are turning in a better direction and that she could soon be considered cancer-free, absolutely incredible. So happy for you, Teddi. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to your family. Congratulations to your loved ones. This is absolutely beautiful. Hey, Star, good morning. Nice to see you doing your morning 3-mile walk. Yes. Left foot, right foot. You go for it, Star. You are crushing it. Can I just say that ever since you shared the news with us, a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was a month ago by now, you have just been crushing it. Your trip to Miami, all the things that you're doing, you sometimes call us from the gym and whatnot. All the things that you're doing to take care of you are so beautiful to see. So congratulations to you, Star. I am loving all of these updates. JJ says, congratulations. Big relief to be cancer-free. Amen, indeed. Ramster says, good news. Ali says, Jaleesa Smith, a townhouse might be up for sale. Oh, I'm not sure I'll talk about the real estate in Chi-Town. Love it. Jasmine says, I'm so happy for Teddi and especially her kids. That's great news, right? Her kids are so young. Cruz and Dove, super young. So it's going to be beautiful. I'm really happy for them that they get to keep their mom. Thank God, thank God, thank God. That story really made me nervous, especially the photos of her in the hospital and everything with all of like the kind of like tubes and whatnot on her, across her head. Very scary stuff. Speaking of health issues and good news, why don't we keep going? We're on a roll here. Why stop now, right? Why stop now? We've got to talk about Gypsy Rose Blanchard. As you guys are aware, she recently gave birth to a daughter named Aurora that she shares with her boyfriend, Ken Urker. And so Gypsy Rose is known for having a medical condition or a genetic condition, I should say, and it's called microdeletion 1q21.1. And it is the chromosomal change in which a small piece of chromosome 1 is deleted in each cell. And the change has the potential of increasing the risk of delayed development, intellectual disability, physical abnormalities, and neurological and psychiatric problems, okay? So now Gypsy Rose has shared some good news, and it's the fact that her daughter does not have this genetic disorder. So congratulations are in order for Gypsy Rose's daughter, Aurora, as well. And I think I'm actually getting better at pronouncing this name. Oh, Lord, the way this name used to kill me. Thank God. Here goes. This is her announcement. Did I put it up for you guys? I sure did. Great news about Aurora. We're overjoyed to share that our sweet girl, Aurora, has tested negative for the rare genetic condition known as microdeletion 1q21.1. This result brings us such immense relief and gratitude. Thank you to everyone who's kept us in your thoughts. Your support has meant the world. Aurora is happy, healthy, and growing beautifully at 4 months old. We're looking forward to cherishing every moment with her with lighter hearts and hopeful spirits. Love that. So much good news happening, y'all. So much good news happening on this episode of The Morning Report. And you love to what? You love to see it. Are y'all keeping up with Gypsy Rose's show? Because I actually kind of fell off for a little bit. I have to go back, catch up, and fill some people in on what's been going on over there as well. I preferred season 1 of the show when she had just gotten out of prison and she was with Ryan. Ryan was just such a character, right? Ken, I don't really, je m'accroche pas. I don't really have like a feeling like, like I like this guy, he's interesting, I want to see what he's about, sort of a thing. And so that kind of turned season 2 into a snooze fest for me. But I still am fascinated by Gypsy's story overall. So I will be going back and tuning in. Lucky says, Aurora is a tongue twister for me too. One reason I never liked Sleeping Beauty. You see, and I feel like I pronounced it different, like 3 different ways across the 3 times that she like listed it in the announcement. Like, and sometimes you overthink it and you panic when you're trying to pronounce this kind of a name. Oh Lord. Hamlet says, I'm so glad Aurora is currently physically healthy. It just sucks her mom is Gypsy Rose. Damn. I think it's true, right? I do agree with you. Did she know she had this disorder? Gypsy Rose, yes, she was diagnosed. What did she say? She was tested in 2012. That's when she found out that she had that condition. In fact, she did an interview with People magazine in which she says, and I quote, I was tested in 2012 and was positive, and again last year in October, and again came back positive. There was a 50-50 chance that she could have inherited it, so we got her tested, and she came back negative. Therefore, herself and her future children won't have to worry about getting the condition that I have. It stops with me. We are relieved to know that she is healthy and is meeting all of her developmental milestones perfectly. That's really good stuff to know. I can't imagine the anxiety of wondering whether or not, you've passed like a very serious genetic condition onto your child, like I feel like she and Ken were probably holding their breath. And so now knowing that, is it true that this is something that might not skip? Like, okay, maybe your daughter doesn't have it, but maybe someone else down the line can have it, because Gypsy, she kind of makes it sounds like that's it. Now it's out of the gene pool, in which case, really great, right? Rana, nice to see you. I don't think I've ever seen you on the morning report, but I do know you as one of my OGs. I still remember your name and your photo from like back in my Ottawa days when I was making like videos in my condo and whatnot. So cool to have you here. Rana says, I never trust the healthcare community when they say, oh, we got it all, you're cancer free. Or really, why get people's hopes up? Then 3 years from now, guess who's back? And you know what? That is a fair point to make, right? Just to circle back again to the Teddi story, because that's kind of similar to what happened, right? Like she first had skin cancer, right? And then everything, they thought it was cleared up, but that's how things got to her brain. How do you pronounce this? Metastasized from the skin, like to her, from her back to her brain eventually, right? So yeah, I see what you're talking about. And that does happen sometimes, right? Where people think they're completely free in the clear. And then later on, they find out, cancer has come back. Je touche le bois, I'm knocking on wood, that is not going to be the case for Teddi. I would hate to hear about her having cancer for a third time. Teddi just says, I don't watch Gypsy's show, but all the best to her. Exactly, right? That's all you can do, and she's been through a lot. Yeah, she made a bad decision, but she went through a lot in her childhood, and it just sounded like absolute hell on earth. Hey, Ashley, nice to see you, boo. Thanks for the heart. Ali says, I can't listen to Gypsy Rose. Is it her voice or you just don't like her at all? But now I feel bad because it's probably her genetics, right? Oh, the voice might, I see what you're saying. I still can't pronounce Magnificent. I can't spell it either. There are these certain things that just like stick, and are so difficult to like get out. Ashley says, this is scared for any mother that has to take a genetic test during pregnancy, right? Very, very scary stuff. And so I'm happy that her daughter, at the very least, is out of the woods as far as this genetic condition is concerned. So I did see a comment about Jenelle Evans. Shout out to you, Miss Moke. Okay, about Jenelle Evans and OnlyFans. So I do have my Jenelle Evans story. However, it's not about OnlyFans. She did advertise that she was posting some more content yesterday, but she never really got off. She's been making solid money on that for a couple of years now. That's what's financing her life. I think it came out that she makes anywhere from 20 to 30K a month on OnlyFans somehow. I'm really fascinated that these, girls that like we think, right, like their main audience is us females from the show, but apparently there's some guys out there, maybe some of the girls too, who are ready to give them some moolah, right? So she's making a lot of money from that right now, very interestingly enough. And thanks, Annabelle. That should be, I think that's what I'm going to spend my weekend doing, watching that. And then I'll be back to do like a up to now on the season recap. Ramsher says it would scare me out of having children. You know what? I think maybe for me too, like I feel like 50-50 chance is a huge chance to take. And so I feel like for myself personally, that is something that would probably make me a little bit too nervous to take the chance. So Mokwan had left a comment earlier about Jenelle Evans. So why don't we get into the Jenelle Evans story, shall we? About her divorce, the little update we've got about how that's going. If y'all were here for yesterday's morning report, if you just saw the video that I posted independently afterwards, we talked about how her estranged husband, David Eason, was indeed investigated after some of the things that she had accused him of in her divorce filing, right? And so now we're finding out that she asked for some more time to respond to David Eason's claims in their divorce. Okay, so we're going to talk about all of that. And afterwards, we're going to talk about Beyoncé. Do you guys remember this scandal when people were wondering whether or not she was really pregnant and if this was a fake baby bump? We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Khloe Kardashian launching a new show and Kelly from the Real Housewives of Atlanta being sued for almost $100,000 in back rent. after a word from some of our sponsors. Again, if you're enjoying today's episode of The Morning Report, don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up, and I'll catch you on the flip side.
The Morning Report is brought to you by Philo. Watch your favorite shows and movies from over 70 different channels, including MTV, TLC, WeTV, and more for only $28 a month. Get a free trial today by clicking the link in the description box of this video to get your free trial up and running. Are you looking for the perfect skincare products for women over 30? Look no further than Rothia. Rothia is a skincare brand born from love and made for parents. Their flagship product, the Resilience Cream, delivers clinically proven age prevention benefits such as average 14% wrinkle reduction after 4 weeks of use. Click the link below and receive 30% off your first purchase today.
All right, there we go. And again, our sponsor Philo, they have the ID network. So if you guys want to watch Hollywood Demons, a bunch of those amazing documentaries, it's on there. They've also got the Gypsy Rose show on Lifetime, the Lifetime network. It's all there. You guys can sign up for a free account. Okay. So let's get into the Jenelle Evans divorced story, shall we? So Jenelle is still preparing her legal response to David Eason's court filings in their ongoing divorce and custody battle. She had requested some more time to respond to David's counterclaims, and the judge did decide to go ahead and give her until May 26th to file her reply. And so when it comes to the counterclaim that David had made against her, he denied most of her allegations. Remember, she was saying a lot of crazy things about David. And to be honest with you, I believe the things, right? Based off of the attitude that he's shown us on the show and on social media, his criminal record. So some of the things were that, he would insult the children. He would say homophobic slurs against the children. He would tell the children that he didn't like having them in the house. He would tell his daughter or whatever that he regretted having her. All sorts of things like this. She also accused him of running over one of their puppies in front of his daughter, Marissa. We saw what he did to Nugget happily, right, in the house with all the children around to hear. Things like that. She said that he locked Kaiser in a running car. She said that he might have some explicit material on his computer, and that's why the police were investigating him, right? They said that he was, getting involved in some very nasty stuff that I won't get into here, right? And so he's denying all of that, and he's found a lawyer somehow who is offered to take his case on contingency, which is absolutely wild, right? It's not like this is some sort of class action lawsuit, but I digress. So in his countersuit, he asked for full custody of their daughter, Ensley, and child support as well. He claimed that he was always the primary caregiver for Ensley, Jason Kaiser, when they lived with him. And here's the thing. I believe that too, right? Jenelle Evans has always shown that it's not really her vibe. Parenting is not her thing. She doesn't want to, right? David too, but at least he goes ahead and gets out and has these activities and whatnot, right? And that's just not Jenelle's ministry. Even when she got with that other guy, August, what happened? Within months, she allegedly had put him as the primary point of contact for the children at school. During their breakup, August was telling us, hey, listen, breaking news, I'm going to bookmark this and look it up. Damn. August was telling the public about how he had to do everything for these kids. He had to go to school for the parent-teacher meetings and whatnot. Like, he really was the one involved, and he was showing receipts about that. So if she would do that with August, we know that she would do that with David, right? And remember, there was even that moment that I still find to be absolutely insane. When they were moving houses, she was pregnant with Ensley, and all she had to do was take Kaiser and bring him to a hotel so that David and his friends can move everything out of the house. And she didn't want to do it. She wanted to just sit around, right? And she also had to go collect the keys for the new house. And she wouldn't do it because she didn't want to be alone with her own kids. She said, really? I have to be alone with Kaiser? Gee, that's going to be fun. So I believe 100% what David is saying about that, right? Howdy, Esther from Fort Worth, Texas. Nice to have you back, boo. Ashley says 50-50 shot, but if you know you're going to marry and have kids, get a genetic test with your partner. I know a subset of Jewish people who do the genetic condition and more relevant. And I think there's something wrong with me these days. Maybe I need to get tested because I I used to be such a good reader, but I'm struggling to read these days out loud. But you know what? You're right. Maybe getting that stuff done before marriage too would be a way to kind of alleviate some of the stress and whatnot and the anxiety. Good morning, Mrs. H. Nice to have you here. Rana says, Janelle, who gets the land? David wants it. How is Babs doing? I've been gone from the Teen Mom socials for a while now. I haven't heard a peep from Barbara since the last back and forth that they had over Jace when she had just signed him over. But I really hope that she is doing well after all of the drama, right? And the stress and the troubles that Jenelle has put her through. And no offense, but Jace as well, right? Like it wasn't a walk in the park, having to be a single mom at her age to a child and a preteen and a teen with a lot of these sorts of issues, right? Annabelle says, David is the worst. Ain't that the truth? Ashley says, wondering about David being the primary parent. Yeah, unfortunately, Jenelle is very, very lazy, right? And so she likes for the men that she's with to take on the majority of the parenting of the children and whatnot. I do wonder, though, how David is going to prove this, right? Is it going to be kind of like the August situation where he shows that like it was him as the point of contact, for all these things, or him logging in to drop off the children? I don't know, right? Ramster says, had I been Barb, A, I would have stayed child-free, and if not, B, would have jabbed Jenelle with the contraceptives, right? And I feel so badly for her. Who could picture their life turning out like that? I really could not even imagine in a million years. Caroline hopes that she'll get herself together, and so do I. Hey, Jayla, nice to see you. Good morning, Farah. Nice to see you again. Steph says Barbara's getting her back. Steph says Barbara is getting her back blown out, living her best life. Listen, I really hope that's true. She deserves it. She freaking deserves it after all she did in her sunset years, in her retirement years. You are too funny, Stephanie. Oh my God. That is a phrase that I never thought I would ever read. Barbara's getting her back blown out. Shay says, Jenelle has always been an irresponsible train wreck. It's crazy that she just kept having kids and always prioritizing men over her children. Terrible. Her, Farah, Kale, Brianna are the worst, right? I just do not understand why these people would not just stop, right? Just stop having the children. My God. And like live your best child-free life if you do not want to, to be responsible for the kids, right? Absolutely insane. I think I still do have a little bit more information about their divorce back and forth, but you know what? I think I'm getting old. Let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit, make the text a little bit bigger, because I like to write my notes in like the Evernote thing. And so typically I use the font 24 when I'm filming because I want to be able to like quickly reference it. You know what I mean? So let me go ahead. So yeah, the last thing we talked about was David claiming that he was the primary caretaker for the children and whatnot. He says that he hasn't seen his daughter Ensley in over a year because of the restraining order that Jenelle has filed against him. However, I do believe that he was given the opportunity to see his daughter, and it's contingent on him getting some sort of a mental health examination, a psychological evaluation. And he has been refusing to do that. It was supposed to be some sort of a visit under visitation or supervised visitation with his daughter. And he's not willing to do that. So right now he's blaming it all on Jenelle, but do not forget that David Eason certainly does have the opportunity to spend time with his daughter. All he has to do is submit to a psychological evaluation, and he is refusing to do that. So that's on him. Do not buy what he's selling in that regard. Jasmine says a new boyfriend being primary contact for schools. That's crazy, isn't it? But with it being Jenelle, I am not surprised at all. Ramster says if David, the jobless dog unaliver, gets the land, there will at some point be a standoff. And I can agree with that too. It's very scary stuff. Bree says, I miss seeing Jenelle. And you know what? If he does get the land, I actually think he'd break up with the Jenelle 2.0 if he got the land and the child support, because I think he's actually only with that girl for like lodging, right? He's a homosexual. Just saying. Bree says, I miss seeing Jenelle on Teen Mom because she had so much going on. No fabrication there. You know what? Speaking of, what happened to her this time around? They put her back for a little bit. then they kind of like just got rid of her again. You know, it was interesting seeing her move to Vegas, and like the complete and utter lack of chemistry, familial chemistry with her and her kids was kind of like weird to watch too and to experience. And then she kind of vanished. Listen, she's making that money on OnlyFans, y'all. So she doesn't really care to be on MTV anymore for now, anyway. Lex says, thank God she fixed herself since she wants to act like a damn dog. Damn. Y'all are brutal this morning. Oh my God, you're cracking me up. Griffith says, Jenelle brought it all on herself. That's the bottom line. She's known from the start. Yep, what and how he is. You know, just like his new girlfriend. You know, everybody's screaming from the rooftops, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Do they listen? No, they never do, right? So, you know, I'm glad to see so many of you guys are really like, you know, advocates for getting some genetic testing prior to having children. And don't forget, and for those of you who are just joining us, this is in regards to Gypsy Rose. Gypsy Rose had made an announcement that her daughter, Aurora, thankfully does not have the same genetic condition that she has. There was a 50-50 chance. And so she doesn't have it. And so, you know, in her case with Ken, they got knocked up like instantly when they got back together. And so they, you know, they didn't really even have the time to like, you know, do any planning or whatnot. So, you know, they're very lucky that, you know, their daughter has, you know, a very clean bill of health. So thank God for that. Now, David Eason, by the way, is requesting the care, custody, and control of his daughter, Ensley, and wants for Jenelle to pay him child support to take care of her, stating that Jenelle is an able-bodied and capable woman who is able to financially support Ensley if custody is awarded to him. I think he has a lot of nerve because she's been taking, quote unquote, taking care, right? I use the term taking care loosely. She has had the sole custody of that child for over a year now, right? So if anything, you owe her a lot of money in back child support. You can't just come here and say, oh, I'll take it from there. I'm supposed to be visiting with this child. I'm supposed to be doing this, that, and the other to have access, but I won't do it. However, somehow I'm going to ask for the court to give me access to this child as if I'm the primary parent and to give me money, even though for the past year and a bit, I have provided $0 and 0 cents towards her care. Absolutely freaking not. He is delusional. Truly, truly, truly delusional if he thinks that this is going to happen. There's no way. Absolutely no freaking way. Right? Stephanie says, David isn't as crazy as he lets off. I think he's actually smart, honestly. Oh, girl. I don't know that I go that far, right? Especially because he thinks that the judge doesn't know that he does have the right to see Ensley. In fact, all he has to do is do some testing, right? Prove you're not crazy, right? Prove you're not a threat. Prove you're not violent. And he won't do it. And then on top of that, he really thinks he's going to be getting child support for a child that he has not supported throughout her adult life. Please, it ain't happening. Rana says, wow, David is such a bottom, and I love that. That's exactly what it is. Bottom feeder. Apparently, that's Janelle's type. Well, listen, don't forget, Jenelle Evans is a bottom feeder herself, you know? So who is my co-reporter who announced that Nathan Griffith got arrested? Let me take a look. I think it was Bree. Was it you, Bree? Yes, it was. Shout out to Bree, our co-reporter who broke the news here on the Grace Report Morning Report live stream that Nathan, oh God, the town strangler. Guess what he got arrested for again? Again. Wow. Wow. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord have mercy. Let me go ahead and pull it up for y'all. Listen, my computer's still being a little bit slow, but it's true. The news just broke about 40 minutes ago that Nathan Griffith was arrested for yet again strangling a woman. And this time it's that girlfriend of who's way too young for him. I do not understand it. You know, I'm not surprised. I do not understand it. Why is he always strangling people? You know, I think he watched too much of The Simpsons growing up. You know how Homer's always strangling his son Bart? Is that what this is to him? Anyway, let me pull it up. I'm shocked. I'm sorry to any of you who might be upset by this story this morning. Mariah, thanks so much for popping in. Can't wait to see you as part of the Playback Posse. Hamlet's thought that he was going to be getting it together. Unfortunately, that is never, ever, ever going to happen. This man is damaged beyond repair. And I'm actually surprised that he has not actually ended someone's life with all of the strangling. Multiple women have reported that losing consciousness when he does this, right? And so I'm actually really shocked that, like Abby says, he needs help before something gets really, really bad. Coconut Cult. Did you change your name? It used to be Kale something. The girl was way too young for him. I hope she gets away. Me too. The last person he was strangling was his sister, by the way, right? Okay, let's get into this. Teen mom Jenelle, shout out to the U.S. Sun for this story. Jenelle Evans' ex, Nathan Griffith, arrested and jailed for domestic battery by strangulation. And yes, Brie, I really, really hope that this is it finally. Oh my God. In Las Vegas, Nathan is still in jail awaiting his first court date on the new charges. That doesn't even look like him over here, actually. This one, of course, but this one I wouldn't have guessed. The U.S. Sun can exclusively report that the father of two, 37, was handcuffed Wednesday night, April 23rd, for domestic battery by strangulation and violating probation in Las Vegas. Oh, God, Nathan. Always something with you, Nathan. Always. Jesus. A Clark County Detention Center spokesperson told the U.S. Sun that he was taken into custody at 9:35 p.m. yesterday evening. Oh, no, not a nighttime strangulation. Jesus. He is still behind bars as of Thursday morning and cannot be bailed out due to his probation violation, the spokesperson said. Thank God. Lock him up. Throw away the key. Lethal injection at this point. Who said that? He is due to appear in court on Thursday afternoon. Nathan's alleged victim has not been revealed. We know who it is. We know who it is, right? The father of Janelle's son, Kaiser, was reportedly dating a 21-year-old and often posted selfies with her at the gym. It is unclear if the couple is still together. I saw my Reddit girlies say this morning that they had unfollowed each other, or she unfollowed him. So I think that's what happened and that it's over. So we already know that less than 2 years ago, Nathan was arrested for battery by, strangulation on his sister. Like we just said, this is what the sister said. He tried to delete me, his own sister, right? She lost consciousness and everything. He threatened her. He said that that's what he was trying to do, right? Oh, God. And, it just has happened so many freaking times with this man. I don't get it. Why doesn't he want to change? Why doesn't he want to be better for himself, for his children? Why is he able to do this repeatedly and still be able to walk free? I feel like there have been people who've done nonviolent crimes and as first-time offenders who've been sentenced to several years behind bars. Yet this man can walk around strangling everybody and still be free? That's crazy. It's so unacceptable. I think this is the fourth woman who has accused him of this at this point, right? It's enough, especially with all the other things that he's done, all the other criminal issues and sentences and charges. The fact that he was on probation when this happened, lock him up and throw away the key. This man is never going to be a productive member of society, and he needs to be treated as such. He is a threat to society. He is a threat to the community. They need to wake up, and they need to put him away for good. He loves working out. He could do all the workouts he wants behind bars. Right? Of course, he's going to have to do, body weight exercises in his cell 23 hours a day. But for that 1 hour that he's out, he can hit the gym, have a bunch of gym buddies over there. Like, I think that is the best thing for him. Right? Caroline says, poor Nathan, he needs so much help. How do these women think he's a catch? Oh, poor the women. Nathan is just a lost cause. I wonder with him, is it PTSD from his time in the army, or is it just who he is, right? well, you know what? I heard something like that. I said, who said that? It's crazy. Coconut Cult is wondering how long they were together. They were only a couple months. They weren't even together for a year. And he was obsessed with her. He was posting about her obsessively. She's amazing. This is it. There's no one else for me, right? And now look, this is what he's doing behind the scenes. I wonder what triggered him this time, right? There's nothing that she could have done to deserve this. But I just mean, like, what happened? You know, like, what would ever bring you to do something like that to somebody, right? Like Abby says, his victims are women and no one cares about us, right? Mandy says, prayers for Florida State University. Good morning from Florida. What's happening in Florida State University? I'm scared to find out. Hang on, man. You know what? Actually, I don't want my computer to freak out. What's happening in Florida State University? Let's send them our prayers. What's happening this time? I'm scared. Jesus. Acacia says, some people just keep getting away with everything. Nathan, Kanye, shaking my head. Exactly. It's too much, you guys. It's too much. Bree says, it's so sad he doesn't see Kaiser. I feel bad. He wants his dad, and Nathan is just not a good person. It would be way too dangerous for Nathan. Imagine Nathan being a primary parent or having these children unsupervised. The town strangler. You know, if he thinks women are frustrating enough, right, that he needs to strangle us, imagine children. You know how frustrating children are? Oh my God, you know, thank God, you know, Kaiser is so lucky. He doesn't understand it now, but he is so lucky that he doesn't spend time with this, you know, miscreant. Tia says, remember, he has a traumatic brain injury. I don't think he will ever get better. I think that's it too. You know, and it's so sad that this is how his manifested. You know, he's, you know, there are millions of people around the world with traumatic brain injuries, but they're not all running around strangling women, right? I think that this is compounded with just abusive tendencies in general. Oh, another school shoot. I thought, is this a new one, like from today? Because I could have sworn I read like 2 days ago about a university shooting in Florida, no less. No. Oh, Lord, that's so sad. You know, I don't know how, you know, how scary it must be to be a student in the U.S. or to be the parent of a student in the U.S. Like, this has just been going on for so long, and it's just unchecked, you know, and it's just so sad and disappointing. Prayers to FSU indeed. Very, very sad. Y'all don't deserve that. It's ridiculous. It's PTSD from Jenelle is what Hamlet's princess says. Coconut Cult says, that relationship was toxic. He's a rocking red flag. Indeed. Nathan, do better. You won't, but I have to say it anyway. I got lost in my report. Sorry, I'm late. No worries. East Awesome. Nice to have you here, boo. Nice to have you here. Now, you guys, I wanted to talk to you about the Miss Tina story. Remember how there was like that big scandal about whether or not Beyoncé was really pregnant with Blue Ivy? Well, actually, let's back up. Her mother, Miss Tina, and you know how I learned that her mom's name is Celestine? I thought it was just Tina, like that's it. But apparently, Tina is short for Celestine. Y'all know my favorite song in the Cowboy Carter album is Levi's Jeans. And in it, Beyonce's talking about, you know, on my sister, on Celestine. And so when I was on like the lyrics, because I like to look up lyrics and what they mean, that's where they explained that was her mom's real name. So anyway, her mom's coming out with a book and she's talking a lot about like, you know, raising a superstar like Beyonce and Solange and, you know, the behind the scenes of a lot of things. And so take a look at what she had to say about this massive, massive scandal. Okay. Let me know what you think in the live chat. Or if you're part of my playback policy, let me know what you think in the comments section.
Tina also writes about this devastating and untrue rumor that spread during Beyonce's first pregnancy. One of the things that became a story was when Beyonce was pregnant and people said, oh, she's not really carrying the baby.
Yeah. It was
because what was the ridiculous rumor? First
well,
said that.
The ridiculous rumor was she went on a show in Australia or something, and she had this very broadcloth type dress. And she wasn't huge pregnant. She was very proud of her little stomach. And she bent over, and the fabric of the dress bent.
So it looked like...
Well, of course, it fell to the front and bent. And they said, they started this vicious, horrible rumor that she wasn't pregnant, and that those were
prosthetics, that she wasn't carrying the baby.
Yeah, that she wasn't carrying the baby. Something so sacred, especially in this family, the way we value babies, that you would fake a pregnancy and keep getting... Like, that makes me a liar. It makes my family a liar. It makes everybody around her complicit to a lie. You know,
that made you angry.
Oh, I was pissed.
Yeah.
I was never so enraged because it should have been a sacred experience. And what they didn't know is that my child had been through a couple miscarriages, which were so painful.
We didn't know that at the time, yes.
It was so painful. And that you're going to take something so sacred when she finally should be so happy and take it and turn it into fodder for gossip. It was horrible.
Yeah.
And it was nothing I could do because she was like, my kids are going to have to read that one day. You're going to make it a bigger story. I didn't have to make it a bigger story. It became a bigger story.
Yeah.
The hatred was unbelievable.
And you didn't speak up?
I did not speak up during that time.
During the time.
She said, that's going to go away. It didn't go away.
So she handles it well then.
She does.
When there's rumors like that.
Yes. She won't,
She seems to handle it better than you do.
Whenever I speak up, she handles it way better than me because I'm not so good at that. I will cuss you out about my kids. And that was one of the worst times of my life. It really was. I would cry. I would get so mad and I would get so upset.
When have there been times that you just didn't hold your tongue?
I'm always in trouble. I get the phone call and I have to delete it, but I'm like, that's all right because it's out there. It's somewhere. Because it just gets to a point sometimes that I get so angry and my mama bear kicks in and I want people to understand that this is a human being. People should be, God knew what he was doing not to make me rich. Because if I would sue everybody. I'd stay in court.
Because social media, Tina, is so vicious.
Isn't it vicious?
It's so vicious and so mean.
Yes.
So there you go. Miss Tina was extremely, extremely pissed off about the massive scandal that photo of Beyoncé and her bump caused in the world. Do you guys remember how huge that was? Like, and y'all know I am a diehard Beyonce stan, right? Even like myself at the time, I thought it was weird too. I said, since when do, bellies kind of collapse like that? Like that's weird, right? And so I remember this being a really, really, really big deal. I remember on the Wendy Williams show, in fact, I went back and found a segment that she had done on it. She actually pulled out 2 staff members who were pregnant at the time. Suzanne, who was due at the same time that Beyonce was due with Blue Ivy, and another staff member as well. She had them both try to sit down to see if their bellies and their baby bumps would have the same effect, and it didn't happen. They also talked about how, just a lot of things, right, in general. But when Blue Ivy was born, people were saying that she wasn't even, and they do this a lot to this day, right? Like, for example, you still hear about celebrities are like, oh, that baby's not a real baby. It's a reborn doll, that sort of thing, right? An absolute mess. I'm sad that Beyonce went through that, especially, now hearing that she had gone through several miscarriages before, successfully getting pregnant with Blue, her miracle baby and whatnot. It was a very, 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 rough and ugly time for her. It clouded the rest of her pregnancy. And that was a very sad thing. It really, really was. By the way, I didn't know so many of you guys were going to be getting Miss Tina's book. Right? Jaleesa says she's going to be seeing her. That's amazing. Congrats, Jaleesa. You get to see Miss Tina and be amazing. By the way, speaking of amazing, how amazing does she look? She is in her 70s. She's 71 and she looks like she's in her 50s. It's crazy. Acacia's going to be getting her book as well. You know what? Maybe I'm going to get her book too, y'all. Why not? Why not? I want to know what Beyonce was like, and I want to know more about Solange too. I really do love Solange as well. Stephanie says, y'all know Beyonce always talks about how she's the daughter of the goddess Ocean, the goddess of fertility, femininity, etc. Her family isn't playing about that rumor, period. They don't play about their beat, and I love it. There was something that Miss Tina said there about oh, God knew not to make me rich. Are we really supposed to believe that you're not rich? You've been rich for several decades, boo. You've been rich for several decades. Stop it. Stop it. What are you talking about? And you know what? That's a great point too, Jaleesa. I wish we could have known how she felt about Jay-Z versus Solange. Becky with the red hair. Well, not the red hair, the good hair. And what exactly it was that Solange was saying in that damn elevator. right? Star says the explanation still doesn't make sense, but I believe she was pregnant. And I agree with that too. I still genuinely do not understand what was going on here, right? She said that it was a small bump. So to me, it's like, okay, I think that the best thing that I can get from it is that the dress was too big for the bump. But like, if it's a small, it doesn't look like a small bump, right? In this photo, it looks like, like 7-8 months sort of a situation, and then it tumbles. I got to be honest with you guys. Y'all know I love Beyonce, but it was still very odd. I've never seen this like before that, and I've never seen that after that. So it was a very, very odd thing. It sucks how that happened, right? It really, really does. However, you got to call a spade, right? Hazen Delay, welcome. Thank you so much for becoming a member. It is so nice to have you. Thank you. Shay says, I know that's right, Miss Tina. Hell yeah. People are too bold and reckless nowadays, just saying whatever they want to say, regardless of it being a rumor or the weight other words and the negative impact. And I agree. Acacia says book club. I love that too. Listen, you know what? Maybe there's this page, I forgot what they're called. It's like Celebrity Memoir Club or something like that. And they actually do a really, really good job of like staying on top of all of these books and having this like cool little book club situation. Caroline says, Wendy Williams' situation is nothing to laugh or show joy about. That is disgusting, right? Kristen says the dress doesn't look too big either. What extra fabric? Let me pull it back up, because that was my explanation. I said it was the dress that folded over, right? Not the bump. But again, like Tina said that her bump was small, but it looked big. I don't know, y'all. I really don't know what was going on this day. And I don't think that we're ever going to get like, anyway, listen, I don't want Miss Tina after me. I love Miss Tina. I love Beyonce, and I love Solange. So I'm going to leave it at that. I will leave it at that. You guys, why don't we get into the Khloe Kardashian story? Okay. Keeping up with the Kardashian star, Khloe Kardashian has just announced that she is going to be working on a new Hulu reality show. You know that show that they have of the family, and it got moved to the Hulu network? It's not doing well. And now they are like trying to put out different products out there so that they can finally retire from being in front of the camera, or at least have something else that brings in more ratings that they can appear on, right? Because at the end of the day, their show is a marketing vehicle. And so they need it for that work. And so basically, she announced at an event this past weekend that she is teaming up with Hulu for a new reality series, and it focuses on their friends and neighbors in their Calabasas community. And so the show is entitled Calabasas Behind the Gates, and it's going to explore the extended lives of the Kardashians themselves and their relationship with those in their gated community. And so she actually is hinting at the possibility of her brother Rob coming to do the show as well, because as you guys are aware, he hasn't been seen in several years now, right? And so they're thinking, okay, well, maybe if we launch this and, we kind of tease the idea of him coming out of hiding to appear on it, it feels like they're really trying to hedge all of their bets on this show, because they need to have something on television that allows them to use it as a marketing opportunity, right? And so I think that having the brother on it, featuring other people, letting us see more of like their friend dynamics and whatnot, is something that they really want to see, become successful. It's giving kind of like Real Housewives sort of a vibe, you know what I mean? So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Once again, the show is going to be called Calabasas Behind the Gates. And so, yeah, the family's going to be appearing, friends are going to be appearing, and we might even be seeing Rob as well. And it's kind of funny that I say we might even be seeing Rob as if he's not part of the family, but y'all know what I mean. They're going to be taking him out of that basement. I don't know whose basement he's living in these days, but they're going to be taking him out of that basement and putting him in front of the screens to give us some more, so that they can have some more television shows to market on. Kristen says they just posted Rob in Easter photos. First time I've seen a post of him in a long time. I saw that too, and I was very, very surprised to see that, because he does not like to be put out there. Tiff says, please leave us be. And Rob, he does not want to be in the spotlight. They are never leaving. And look at how many children they've got between them too. The next gen is coming up sooner than you think as well. It's kind of scary. I think they're going to be here at least 3 generations or something. Ramster says, who would want that, having Kong snoop around your property with cameras? Damn. Rapster, you never get your foot off of Khloe's neck. Coconut Culp says the Easter photo was so Photoshopped. Listen, every photo they put out there is Photoshopped to the gods. So it looks like my channel members enjoy when I do the read-alongs and whatnot. Okay, you guys want to do the Miss Tina book as well? Okay, let's look into it then. Let's join. You know, speaking of, I do have to finish the Tyler and Caitlyn book. I completely forgot about it, but I do have to finish that for you guys. So I'm going to be continuing that as well, I think over the weekend. Cherry Girl says, do y'all realize that if Gypsy actually has a syndrome, that means her mother had justification for medical interventions? Gypsy is a murderer and nothing more. You know what? That depends, right? Because, you know, maybe certain aspects of her condition manifested in certain ways, but maybe the mom did also go overboard, you know, using that as a justification, right? I'm not exactly sure. It's really hard to tell with all of the conflicting kind of like stories about it. Nikki says, yes, book club. None of my friends want to read with me. You guys are so cute. All right, y'all. I'll let you know when I get Miss Tina's book. Is it out already? Or is she just like promoting it so that it comes? I'll have to take a look at it. Okay, you guys. Lexus, 3 generations, girl, don't curse the world to that. You know what? I take it back. I take it back. But these people, they do not want to go away. And it's kind of crazy because with all of the money that they have made, you would think they'd be like, okay, and chill to kind of like, you know, ride off into the sunset. But no, they still want to be in front of us. They want their kids to be in front of us. And it's a lot, you know, and I feel sad, honestly, for their kids, especially. You would think that with all that money, right? Like, they would want for their kids to live like a normal life, you know, free of judgment and free of, you know, everything that comes with being in the spotlight, but they don't. And I find that to be quite sad, to be honest with you guys. I'm going to get into some of your comments before we get into the last story. I don't know if y'all heard, but someone was playing on my doorbell. I actually was writing to my landlord about this. Like, we have an Airbnb next door. And so there's just always all these people coming in and out. And sometimes like, they think that they're supposed to be here, so they're trying to put their key in to enter my apartment. And then if it doesn't work, they'll ring the doorbell. I once had this like thing where like I came in and I put my groceries away, right? And I had brought a lot of groceries. And so I was turning around to like lock the door behind me. And this man had opened the door and he was inside of my apartment because he was supposed to be staying. I said, listen, ma'am, I need you please to do something about that Airbnb next door. Like they're spooking me. It's crazy, you know, like 6, 7 in the morning sometimes like late at night. Like, no, this cannot continue. It's crazy. I don't want people playing at my door. It's scary. You know, and listen, ladies, I don't know about you, but me as a lady, a woman, I never answer the door if I'm not expecting anyone. Ever. I don't care what time it is. The light is still out, but I don't care. I'm not opening that damn door. Did you guys see that video? Before I get into the last story, did you guys see that video of the lady? There was like a lady, she's like a nanny in like a big apartment for a family with money in the 16th arrondissement. And so she answered the door. I guess she assumed it was a delivery for the family or something like that. So she answered the door and she was looking after the kids. And it was like a bunch of people who were there to like, you know, break in and steal things. And so they started beating her up. And what I said, oh, that's scary stuff. Like, ladies, never, ever, ever answer the door. Morning, noon, night, never answer the door. If you are not specifically, you know, expecting somebody, right? If this was somebody who knew me, right, they would have buzzed in at the bottom, but they didn't. Someone just popped up at my door, playing around on my doorbell. Absolutely freaking not. You could play around all day. I'm not answering shit. Hey, 2 snaps. Nice to see you, boo. Sheena says, do you have a ring camera near your... No, because it's an apartment. And France has all sorts of privacy laws. You're not really supposed to have like these sorts of things like on the outside of your door, especially not in an apartment. Yell at them through it. A grown man chilling while I'm bringing in groceries would set me off. Isn't that crazy? Like, he was in my apartment. He was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was like, oh God, make a sign. This isn't an Airbnb. I'm telling you, it's too much. Like, I can't stand it. I run a motel attached to my, Lex, come back. Give us the rest of that tea. Coconut Cult says same. Only Amazon and FedEx are allowed to come unexpectedly, right? That's it. Do you have, I've never seen a gun here. We don't have any of those. You know, actually, unfortunately, even self-defense, like taser, stuff like that, and you need it, you know, here, you need it. I actually had an instance, you guys know, my channel members, I made a video about this when it happened, where this guy was like stalking me at a restaurant. And that night I came home, I was like, oh my God, like I need something. So I went online to see what I had the right to have. Pretty much nothing. Keisha says, definitely wouldn't answer. People are crazy. Yup. People are crazy, y'all. Be careful. Okay. So I'm going to read Jasmine and Lex and then get on to our last story. Jazz says, this is scary, Grace. Stay safe. I never open the door for strangers or answer unknown phone calls. Me neither. I block those numbers. Get out of here. Lex says, I run a motel attached to my house and I have to answer the door to people every day and let them in the house. Once I had a drunken guest walk into the house at 1 a.m. looking to check in. Oh, that's scary, Lex. I don't know how you do it. Oh, stay safe. Stay safe indeed. People are nuts out here and I hear them still coming in and out. I can't stand Airbnb. Even when I travel, I stopped taking Airbnbs just because living next to one is not fun. Now, why don't we get into the Kelly story? This is our final story of the day. Okay, y'all. Do y'all remember our Waffle House queen from the show? She gave her daughter 17 expensive designer bags to celebrate her 17th birthday. Well, she might need to pawn off some of those bags to pay the rent that she owes her landlord. Apparently, Kelly owes over $101,000 in unpaid rent, interest, and late fees for her Nana's Chicken and Waffles location in Georgia. In Sandy Springs, Georgia, I should clarify. The lawsuit was filed on March 26th, and it claims that Kelly signed a 5-year lease in January of 2024 that was supposed to last until August of 2029. But her landlord said she breached the lease by failing to get proper permits to start renovations so she could open the restaurant or pay rent. And despite being warned multiple times between October 2024 and March of 2025, she never actually handled it, apparently. The landlord is saying that they're going to be adding on extra fees if she doesn't pay up in 10 days. Kelly's team is putting the blame on her recent divorce. Listen, girl, you filed for divorce like a year and a half, 2 years ago. I don't think this is a good excuse. Her rep says that the lawsuit is about her second location and the delays are due to a messy split and close to $160,000 in legal bills. So you know what? Okay, I get it. The divorce is eating up a lot of her money, her cash flow and whatnot. But at the end of the day, those bills need to be paid. Like it sucks what you're going through. Absolutely. And don't forget, she said on the show that her ex-husband went through all of her money to steal one of her locations or something like that and get it shut down. So I don't think that she would be finding herself in this position if it wasn't for her ex-husband. I don't think that she is a scammer or anything like that. I think she just found herself in a very, very kind of bad position. I do wonder though how much the rent is, if it's going to be, if it's already been racked up to this amount, right? $101,000 is a lot to owe. Right. So what is it? The rent, $10K a month or something like that. I'm quite impressed actually that the landlord allowed her to not pay rent for this long. Typically, you guys are, in the US, if you're a landlord, you're in a better position than landlords in Canada or France, right? If someone doesn't pay, you can have them out relatively quickly, right? So why is it that they waited until the debt got this big? I guess because Kelly was doing renovations. And so it's kind of difficult to just kick someone out and try to get someone in the midst of a reno or something like that. I really genuinely have no clue. But again, listen, I like Kelly on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I really do think that she would genuinely be paying this. I think she's about her business and whatnot. So yeah, honestly, very, very sad story. Let me get into some of y'all's comments. Okay, you guys, before I have to head out here, I actually think I could fit in a workout before my plans tonight. I'm going to be meeting up with a friend of mine tonight, my flaky friend. My OGs know, my regular morning report viewers know, especially my channel members, about my flaky friend. Star says 2 men were killed from knocking on a man's door soliciting. Listen, people don't play these days. They don't have time for these games. I stay strapped. Good. Lexi, thank God. Thank God. Brandon, girl, you're reading Shannon's text from a few days ago. Took me out clutching your pearls. I love you so much. Brandon, I'm still shook. Big black. What did he say? Hang on. Let me pull them up because that was wild. What kind of fetish is this? What did he say? Was it baby batter or some other weird stuff like that? That was crazy. 25K per cheek. They are freaky, freaky, freaky. But put the baby gravy. Have you guys ever heard of that? Baby gravy? Thanks for reminding me, Brandon. That was wild. Acacia says, shaking my head. It's always people doing the most that are broke, period. Kelly, sell off the bags. Sorry to your daughter, but we got to get that location paid off. And then you'll buy her more bags later. I don't know. Hey, Eason, nice to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Unfortunately, we're winding down here, but I'm so glad we have you nonetheless. Kahara says, I live in Sandy Springs and know exactly where this new location is. When and if she opens, we've got an on-the-ground co-reporter. Thank you, Kahara. What does it look like so far? Like, do they have like scaffolding around it? Like, what's the current, vibe? Does she let go of her interior designer as well? What you trying to say? Let me pull this up. Yeah, it's a little cluttered. I see what you mean. I live around that area and I was wondering why it never opened. Oh, we've got another reporter. Guys, yes, please keep us updated, okay? This might be our version of Chateau Charest. Remember the sticks and whatnot? Oh, this might be it. It took me a year and a half to get someone. I'm going through that stuff right now too, Caroline. It is annoying. I've been at it for a year now. I just filed her latest papers. Served her latest papers a couple of days ago, and I'm hoping to get her out by June. Honestly, it's not easy. It really isn't, landlording. Akeisha says, I would wait until the last minute to get dressed. Just saying. I hear you. Star says evicting someone is not easy. Yup, we have a squatter problem. Yup, even people who broke in illegally. Yeah, if they were there over a month. It's hard, y'all. It's hard. A lot of people, when they think about like landlords, are like, oh, they're so, they're rich or this or that. They've got no, like it's just someone who, maybe has one, maybe two or something like that. And it's just like money that they want to park somewhere instead of just leaving it to rot in the bank. They want to, have it grow somewhere, or maybe they want it to be an investment for their children or their retirement or something like that. Hey, Star, so glad you finished your walk. You did it. You did the damn thing, rock star. Kristen says, baby gravy, baby batter. Turns me too. Now I'm feeling sick. I might need to lie down. She says, in the Kelly situation, it probably depends on the process of the landlord filing in court and how backed up to acknowledge the case instead of court date. It's hard, having to hang on like that. And like, the money is not coming in. Meanwhile, you're still obligated to pay the bank. It is not easy. Props to the landlord. And I hope all of this gets sorted. Again, I do not think that Kelly is a scammer. I don't think she's a bad person. I think that she was put in a bad situation by an abusive ex-husband, and that as soon as she's able to get all of this stuff situated, she will pay back the rent that she owes and hopefully have her business up and running. I really do believe in her. And let me get to my last comment. Oh, wait, I already read it. So that was my last comment, you guys. That was the last comment, you guys. Baby gravy, just disgusting. And again, Shannon is pushing 60. Talking like this to teenagers, freaking creep. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Morning Report. I actually really had a great, and I say this every time, but I had a really great time today. This was great. These stories were amazing. Thank y'all so much for your amazing comments and whatnot. And I'm looking forward to catching you again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for our last morning report of the week. If you enjoyed this, please don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye, guys. Take care.